The state has a duty to support the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Denmark. Among other things, this means that the state pays some of the expenses of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Denmark. This is done via the other taxes and duties received by the state. Therefore, everyone pays a contribution to the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Denmark, regardless of their faith. This is stated in the Section 68 of the Danish Constitution since 1848. This means that there is an inseparable relationship between the Evangelical Lutheran Church and the Danish government. The state financially supports this church in particular, while other private churches in Denmark do not get subsidies from the government directly.
I think the reason that there is a connection between state and church historically actually is that it tends to moderate both. When you have a church that is connected to the state, the church also has to account for what its role in society is.
The Evangelical Lutheran Church is receiving a total of 9 billion kroner from the government every year. The church tax paid by members of that church constitutes 88% of that sum. The other 12% comes from the government subsidies. Take parish of Aarhus as an example. Members of the state church are to pay 0.74% of taxes from their salary to the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Aarhus. If a Lutheran member in Aarhus earns 300,000 kroner annually, 25,000 kroner a month, he or she has to pay 2,220 kroner a year as church tax. To Lutheran member and church personnel, there is a need to continue this membership system, although it is experiencing nationwide discussions.
I think it's a good way. It goes like when you get baptized, you get a membership, and when you grow up and you start to earn money and so on, you pay taxes, and then you automatically support the church that you're a member of.
It is a very easy way for us to obtain the membership fees, and it's a very, very easy way for the members to pay their fees. So of course this is to us very important.
Although this has been a long practice, the Atheist Society holds opposition towards the way of implementation of the church tax system.
This argument that we should keep supporting something even though you don't use it yourself, it's a good argument, but religion is not a necessary product for anybody. That's when it becomes a cultural debate all of a sudden, where we want to go in and say, well, look, this is not a product you need. You've been sold a desire and need since you were a child, so that they can sell you a product you don't actually have any use for. So that's when it's going to become a lot more cultural debate.
While the Atheist Society opposes the church tax in the nation, it still constitutes the most important part of the state church's funding regarding its operation.
Of course, believing is absolutely free for you and for me, but if you want to be a member of the church, of a church that does things and has activities for everyone to participate in, then of course that would cost money.
Many members have activated their membership when they got baptized as a baby. Tommy, who was born in a Lutheran family and automatically became a member, had quit the system in 2004.
The letter normally never gets to the priests in the church, so they never read it anyway. For them it's just a procedure. So it's okay, oh, that's his problem, right? Out of it. It's not, they're just doing their job. And it's because the Lutheran Evangelical Church are very used to, there's a lot of people who has membership of the, I think it's about 80% of the Danish population. There's automatically these members of this church. So it's not a big deal for them that they lose some members, because they gain a lot of members again when people come and baptize their children.
Every people, every man, every woman is free to choose. Nobody is kept in the church as prisoners. It's an open institution. People are free to come, people are free to go, and everybody is this. And I think that's the good way of being a Christian. You're free to be here, you're free to go.
The state gives the church a thumbs up like this and just goes, hey, we like this church, so pay for that. And people don't want to do their taxes, so they just pay it and don't know just exactly how much money they spend on it, and they don't spend any time thinking about what they're supporting. So that is the problem, that it's an opt-out system, whereas we would like one where you have to option into it.
Other than the church tax, the Lutheran Church is also receiving government subsidies of 12%. This money comes from the personal income tax of every citizen in Denmark. Even you are not a member of the Lutheran Church, you are still indirectly financing it.
Well, the funding from the state is spent in one way and one way only. The state pays 38% of the salaries for the pastors. That's how the money from the state is spent. When people are born, when people want their names changed, if that can be done according to law, then we do this for the state. Registration of deaths is also a job that we perform on behalf of the state. I'm not sure actually if the net reality is that the government is financially supporting the church. I'm not sure of this. But of course we do have other incomes. For instance, if you have a grave on a graveyard, you have to pay what it actually costs to maintain it. And you also have to pay for the lease of the land. And as we have the expenses, we of course also get the incomes for this.
In Danish society, the high taxation system guarantees public services to every Dane. Church tax is seen as one of the items from the whole system.
ليش كيف ماشي؟ ليش أنا فيني إنه أروح على المدرسة مجانا؟ ليش فيني أروح على الدكتور قد ما بدي مجانا؟ وهو فعليا ما إنه مجانا بالنسبة لي، لأنه أنا بدفع وجاري بدفع وجار جاري بدفع وكل الناس بتدفع، يعني كلنا إحنا بندفع عشان نقدر يعني نعيش حياة مرتاحة. فأنا بقول لا، التاكسس لازم يكون شيء يعني أنا بحسه لا بالعكس، إنه هذا شيء منيح، لأنه كلنا بنساعد بعض، وهذا المفروض إنه مفهوم الكل يكون عنده إياه.
It's like having a football club, and people don't like football, or maybe they have to come, or they have to pay to this football club, even though they don't like football and never go to football, but even though they pay, and it doesn't make sense.
This kind of funding is facing a new challenge now. In March 2016, Liberal Alliance in Denmark proposed a bill to the parliament that cancels extra government funding. If this bill is approved after the discussion, the Lutheran Church will only rely on church tax.
But if the government funding should be taken away, then should also the tasks that we are now doing for the government. The church does a lot of things for the government, including preserving all these cultural buildings.
For now, the Danish government is only directly funding Evangelical Lutheran Church. The possibility of imposing specific tax to all other religions is being discussed in the public sphere.
أنا مرة طرحنا هذا الموضوع، طرحناه عن السياسيين، إنه ليش ما بنعمل مثلاً تاكسس للمسجد؟ إنه يعني في عنا للتشيرش، في عنا يعني هاي لحالها، إنه ليش ما فينا نعمل لمسجد؟ يعني هن قالوا انه صعب شوي لانه هي اصلا تكساس يعني شيء ثقافي اصلا يعني عند الدنماركيه انه هذا جزء من انه احنا كدنماركيين بالدنمارك وهيك فتيجي تغيري يعني كمان تصير تجيبي ديانات تانية انه هذا لحاله بسبب مشاكل عند الشعب.
It would be a good idea to say that other churches than the Christian church could have money in this way. To say, for instance, if you're a Muslim, you pay the church tax, but that money would then go to an Islamic society of your own choice.
The objective of the Atheist Society is to separate the church from the state. They have launched a bus campaign which has stirred up rebounds from the state church. They asked about, have Jesus and Muhammad spoken to God? Why does belief cost money? And why do you believe in God? In 2015, the church ministry recorded nearly 10,000 deregistrations, but with only around 7,000 new registries.
The church have gotten a surplus of 400 million a year of cash that they don't use. At the same time, they've not been subjected to any kind of downsizing, which almost any other public or semi-public entity has been for the past 10 years. So they should be able to run without those 900 million. And they should as well, just because it would be a fair principle. Maybe we could pay for the services that they do for the entire society. Maintaining their buildings, a lot of people want to see those buildings, fair enough. Social service registration is currently a task that's within the church. But these things are not in nearly as expensive as 900 million a year.
I'm a bit scared of the campaign for quite another reason. I find it hard to believe that someone would find us so dangerous, or whatever you might call it, that they will actually spend so much money and energy with the sole purpose of trying to get people to leave the church. I mean, this notion is very strange to me. I don't know. It's beyond my comprehension, because I simply cannot understand.
Despite the debate going on, the future of the Evangelical Lutheran Church is still unclear.
I believe that it has a great future in Denmark. I think that coming generations will see, will find that the church and the gospel, that Jesus Christ, is a very important thing, part of the life, and that we need this blessing with us.
The Lutheran Evangelical Church will last for many years, and it will go slowly with people getting out of it. And sometimes they will experience people coming into it again, and then it will go up and it will go down like this. But it will not be as stable as before. And there will be more twists and more discussions and more radical viewpoints than before, I think so.
I would expect that because of our website and campaigning, that we are going to see a rapid increase in people exiting the state church. And that is going to push on a political movement towards more segregation of church and state in various degrees. The church tax was imposed in 1920 by Parliament. It can be removed again by Parliament. And that, if that ever happens, will have a tremendous impact on the amount of people who are members of the church.
With Atheist Society on one side, the Lutheran on another, as well as other religions, this iron-hot debate is ongoing. In the short run, the campaign might not lead to a reform as the organizer expected. However, in the long run, the steady marriage between the state and the church might slowly dissolve.